Señoras y señores, bienvenidos a mi canal. Es un placer estar acá nuevamente con ustedes. Esta es la primera entrevista, una de las primeras entrevistas que se va a hacer acá en este 2022. Y tengo presente en esta entrevista a un gran músico, a un gran bajista de blues. Él ha tocado con Mickey Moody de Whitesnake, ha tocado con un montón de otros reconocidos músicos del ambiente. Pero él es más conocido por ser el bajista de Gary Moore y ha tocado en muchísimos discos con él. Nosotros le decimos Gary Moore acá en Argentina, pero trato de pronunciarlo lo mejor posible. Así que voy a presentarlo. He's one of the greatest blues bass players in the world. He's the one and only Pete Reeves. Welcome.
Thank you, Pablo.
It's an honor. It's an honor to have you here in my channel, and
it's a good pleasure.
I hope this interview goes well.
So I hope so.
I'm going to start with the first question. Let's talk about your beginnings. When and why you decided to play the bass guitar?
Well, that was a long time ago. When I was back living in Wales, where I grew up. Plastigales, yeah. And when I left school at 15, I had a job, and I met this guy who was a bass player, and I just used to go watch him playing a few gigs and stuff, and I really got interested in playing the bass. And I just I felt a connection with it, and I loved the sound of it, and that's really how it started for me. So I bought a second-hand bass, cheap one. I started learning it myself, and that's how really my journey started, really, as becoming a bass player. I listened to a lot of James Jameson, Tamla Motown bass player. He was a phenomenal player, and if anybody can just listen to this guy's work that he did with Tamla Motown, just made that Tamla Motown sound. He was, and he only played with one finger. It was phenomenal. I also listened to people like Carl Radle. I used to work with Eric Clapton and Derek and the Dominoes, Nathan Watts with Stevie Wonder, obviously Jaco Pastorius. Yeah, I mean, he was just a phenomenal player, genius. Yep. A lot of people try to get close to what he did, but I think they should just sit down and listen to a genius at work, because he was a brilliant player.
Yeah, and I can imagine how he played his fretless bass. That's very hard to play, I think.
Yeah, man, he took all the frets out himself.
Yeah.
And yeah. He was just a brilliant player.
How much does the music industry has changed over the years? And also, do you think these changes are favorable to musicians in general?
Oh, it's changed big time, really, since I started. I mean, what I miss really is like going in the studio as a band and playing live in the studio, and with everybody feeding off each other. And he didn't have click tracks in them days, it was a feel thing, you just got to get a feel together and groove. And but now everything is done, it's all digital, and it's a different way of working, and business is business changed big time, because everybody can just download music now, and it's hard for musicians to make a living, really. And I mean, you can go out, you know, the only way now is going out on the road and playing live and selling merchandise and stuff, you know. But it's a different, yeah, it's totally different way of, it's just changed immensely over the years. But, you know, you can't stop progress, if you know what I mean. You know, it's the way it is now.
For all the bass players out there,
Yeah.
who wants to become professional musicians, what kind of advice can you give to them?
I think you got to be, I think you should just have a bit of fun, really, with it, and enjoy it, you know. And obviously, if you want to take it to another level, then, you know, there are going to be players who will want to do that, and it's a passion, it's a love. Yeah, it's like, you know, it's just that you got to feel it, really. You just got to feel it, and keep playing and dedicate yourself to it, you know, in music, and put the hours in. If you want to be good at something, you have to do that, and just keep working at it, and study as well. I think you need to study the harmonies and triads and all the kind of arpeggios, and, you know, it sort of expands everything, and get to know the bass, the neck of the instrument, the notes, and it's important. That can open up a lot of doors for you, you know. I used to play Yamaha. I had endorsement with Yamaha basses, and the German company Warwick basses. But I always went back to the old Fenders. I got like some old Fenders I have, and Music Man basses, 5-string. But I've got some old Fender Precision basses that I still use today. They just have that kind of warmthness, and it's great basses. You know, they're just fantastic basses. But there's a company called Dingwall. I think they're Canadian, I think, and they make some really good guitars as well. They sound really nice, actually. So I'm looking into maybe getting one of them. Wow. How I met Gary was, I was doing a gig in London, and it was a bar that Gary used to come and visit, you know, and have a drink with his girlfriend. Anyway, that particular night, I was doing a gig with a band I was working with, and also I found out later Gary was supposed to do a gig as well with his band. And that was with Gary Hasban on drums and Jack Bruce on bass. But the problem was Jack didn't turn up, and also Gary Hasban didn't show up as well. I don't know what happened. They just didn't make it. So Gary was left on his own. So his girlfriend approached us and asked if it would be possible for Gary to sit in with us that night and a couple of songs. And we just said, yeah, of course you can, you know, we didn't have to think too hard about it. And anyway, Gary sat in with us. I thought maybe for a few songs, but it ended up that he did the whole show with us that night. It was pretty phenomenal. As you know, he's a brilliant guitar player. So it made everything different sounding, and the band sounded different as well that night. And anyway, after the gig, his girlfriend Jo at the time, she approached me and asked if I would give the number, my mobile number, to her, because Gary wanted to give me a call, because he liked my playing that night. So a few days later, Gary phoned me and asked me if I'd like to get together in the studio. And so I said, yeah, of course I would. I'd love to do that. So we ended up spending about 4 hours in the studio, going over a lot of different old songs, blues, Peter Green things, and just jamming, really. And at the end of the session, Gary asked if I'd wanted the gig, because he was putting a new band together. So I said, yeah, of course I would. I'd love to do it. And that's how it really started, really, for me, working with Gary. Yeah, it was a great honor, great pleasure to work with the guy.
Wow, that's an amazing story. Gary Moore, for me, is one of my favorite guitar players of all time.
Yeah, yeah, I think Gary was very. I mean, obviously, everybody knows about Jeff Beck and Clapton, all these kind of great players as well. But I think Gary was right up there with them, if you know what I mean. He was just he's a brilliant guitar player, and I think he should have had more credit, really. But anyway, but his music still lives on. So he's a fantastic guitar player.
All the albums that you have recorded with Gary Moore, which is your favorite album and why?
I think we did. There was some material released in Montreux collection. I think it's a definite collection that was recorded in 1999, because we did a live gig there in Montreux Jazz Festival in '99, and then also in 2001. So they released a live double CD thing out, and that was pretty good, actually. I thought that was with Gary Hasman on drums and also Darren Mooney in 2001. Well, Darren used to work with Primal Screen after that. But yeah, that was a pretty good album. And also Enough for the Blues. I think that was another one we did. It was pretty good. Close as You Get. There was been a lot of live stuff being put out as well, which I didn't even know about. But the record company just releases a lot of stuff now.
And also, Gary Moore played many festivals in Montreux.
Yeah. Yes, he did. Yeah.
He also, when he released the album Still Got the Blues, he did a very important DVD on Montreux in the 90s also. So
yeah, that's with a good friend, Graham Walker, on drums, because Graham used to work with him, in those days.
Yeah, very good drummer. Very simple.
Yeah.
In the pocket.
Yeah, very, nothing too complicated, but a great feel.
Yeah, that's the most important thing on music.
Yeah.
From the entire Gary Moore repertoire, which are the songs that you enjoy the most playing with him in a live show?
Oh, well, I still like playing. Obviously, Still Got the Blues for You. That was everybody used to go crazy about that. When we played it. Cold Black Night, again with Darren Mooney on. It was pretty up tempo kind of song. Just We used to do Hendrix's song Fire, Jimi Hendrix tune. Parisian Walkways,
Wow.
Pretty Woman. We used to do, as an encore, we used to do The Blues Is All Right. So many, really. I mean, they're all pretty, they're all pretty good songs.
Yeah.
We played.
Yeah, I love the song Midnight Blues. That's one of my favorites.
Oh yeah, Midnight Blues is a great song.
Yeah, I love the riff.
Thanks for reminding me about that one.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
Or Texas Blues. There's another song called.
Yeah. Texas, yeah.
Yeah, very good song.
How that came about was I was doing a gig in Athens with Gary in Greece, Athens in Greece, and Billy was a big fan of Gary's, obviously, and he was a guitar player, a young guy at the time. Anyway, quite a few years later, my good friend Vic Martin, a keyboard player, was doing some gigs in Athens and met Billy Meziotis. And they got talking, and he asked Vic if he would like to do some work with him, do a few gigs. So when Vic got back to London, he told me about Billy. And so we got together and we just did a few gigs in Athens as a bit of fun, just doing like covers of stuff on Gary's material. So that's what we did. We got Graham Walker in it, myself and Vic Martin. Because Billy's a great guitar player, he's a really good guitar player, playing that style of music.
Yeah.
So that's how it came about, really.
Yeah. Now I was watching some footage in YouTube, and
oh yeah,
he's very good, very good.
Yeah, he really nails that down a lot, I think.
Yeah.
That's he's got that sound of Gary's, the sound that it's very close to what Gary used to play, like.
Yeah, which is very.
It's not a lot. It's difficult to get that.
Are you working in a new album? Are you working in new material?
Oh yeah, with Billy.
Yes.
Yeah, because Billy asked if I'd like to do, put the bass down on these new songs of his. So I said, yeah, I'll do all the bass on them. And so I recorded all the tracks. I went down to Graham's studio down in the country. So Graham and myself did the bass and drums for Billy's stuff. So I recorded all the bass and there at Graham's studio. And Vic Martin put his keyboards down and sent all the stuff to Billy as well. So, and then Billy put all the guitars down, and so, but I haven't listened to it yet. So I don't know if it's been mixed or anything.
Okay.
So I don't know. Perhaps maybe next month I can hear some of it.
Great, awesome. It has been a tremendous honor for me making this interview.
Oh, it's a pleasure, Pablo.
It's a dream come true because I was listening to Gary Moore's music since I was like 17 years old. So I'm 41. So
oh wow,
so
wow, that's great.
All right, so it has been a tremendous honor, and we keep in touch. Okay.
Absolutely. Bye.
Okay. Bye bye. Take care.
Bye bye. Bye bye, Pablo. Bye.